Welcome to Simplify to Scale, a show dedicated to helping you scale a high-impact and high-profit business that you love without all of the complexity and chaos that can keep you trapped in the day-to-day. I'm your host, Krista Grasso, and with decades of scaling experience, I know what actually works and what's just hype. So if you are done with all of the one-size-fits-all scaling advice and all of the overnight success promises, and instead you want proven practical strategies that will help you simplify operations, elevate your leadership, amplify profits, and scale sustainably, let's dive in and get started. Hello, and welcome to what is now the Simplify to Scale show. After being the Lean Out Your Business podcast for a little over 4 years now, it was time for an identity evolution that reflects our next level and that reflects the blend of Lean Out Method and Strategic Ops Institute, our newer brand. And as I shared in the teasers about the rebrand in the past couple episodes, the new name would be one that you recognize. So you might have guessed that it would be Simplify to Scale, but if you're not brand new here, I'm sure that you're not surprised that it's Simplify to Scale. And I really spent a lot of time thinking about what I wanted the show to be. In all honesty, I probably spent a little bit too much time thinking about what I wanted the show to be, what I wanted the new look and feel to be. But it really felt like it was time for that up level all the way around. We're experiencing it within the business. I'm experiencing it personally as the leader of the business. And since this podcast is such a core piece of what we do, it is where I feel like I'm able to help so many businesses that I'll never have the opportunity to actually work with personally. So to me, this was a really important shift and a really important evolution. And so I did want to get it right in the sense that I wanted it to feel like exactly what was needed today. Now, so more than ever, with so much uncertainty and so many questions and just so much change that seems to be coming at an even more rapid pace than ever, as much as things seem to be kind of slow and molassesy out there as well. It's really just such an interesting dynamic that's going on. And I wanted what I felt was absolutely critical, and I want to change the game about how people think about scaling. I want to change the game about how people think of success in their business. I want to shift how people think about things from this quick overnight tactic, got to do this because this is now all the rage, to getting people to understand the foundational things that it takes for sustainable success. And again, if you've been a listener for a while, you know this is what I always talk about on the podcast. So while our brand has elevated, what we're talking about is still the same core things that really truly help you scale your business and that really truly help you get your time back and help you simplify your operations and simplify how you lead your team and help you build a better team and build better systems and not waste your time with all of the noise and distractions that do such a fantastic job of pulling business owners' attention and helping them feel like they're making progress, but not actually taking them any closer to where they need to go. It's just adding another plate to keep spinning. So this is truly your no fluff, no BS, how it's done, practical proven strategies that you need to be able to reclaim your time, step into the role of visionary CEO, and put the ecosystem in place that makes stepping out of the day-to-day of your business possible. It's one thing to say you want it. It's another thing to know what to do to actually make it possible. And most of the scaling advice actually traps you more in the day-to-day instead of helping you step out of the day-to-day and elevate to what you want to do next, whether you want to write another book or whether you want to maybe form another business or whether you just simply want a little bit more space to be able to think and to work strategically on the next level, to be able to envision again instead of feeling so buried in the weeds of the day to day. And so the new rebrand both looks to the past as well as the future because our signature program within Lean Out Method for several years now is Simplify to Scale. It has evolved and shifted so much over the years. We've worked with hundreds and hundreds of businesses. We have helped so many founders build a team that gives them freedom, put a right hand person in place to allow them to have someone that they trust to lead their vision with their team. I'm so honored by all of the businesses who've put their trust in us and in my signature lean scaling system, what you frequently hear me refer to as SPSTI. And I've been working away behind the scenes, breathing new life into Simplify to Scale. Because as I look to the future and as I look to what businesses need most right now, what they need is to simplify to scale. I think putting a focus on sustainable success is so incredibly important. And the businesses who've been able to thrive and who've been able to handle so many of the shifts in the market are ones who had that solid foundation that their scaling was built upon. It does not matter if your business has been around a year, 10 years, or 50 years. There is always an opportunity to look at the foundational elements that make scaling sustainably possible. So, as far as what to expect from the new rebrand, same content, same incredible guest experts. You've probably noticed I've been doing a lot of solo episodes lately. That's me really thinking about and taking the time to envision where I wanted to take the show, what I envision next for it. And I'm excited to welcome some guests back onto the show. I'm still going to stick with solos for a bit because I've really been enjoying things. I'm up leveling so much of what I do inside Simplify to Scale, inside my certification programs. And the podcast for me is just such a great way to share that with all of you. Well, I always hope that when you're ready and if it feels aligned, you take that next step and decide to partner with my team and I in some way, shape, or form. I also know that there's a small subset of listeners who will. And so being able to share that here and give you things that you can take away and immediately take action on, and hopefully walk away with time back in your schedule or walk away with clarity on something that you felt stuck on, or even be able to avoid making a really costly mistake, whether it's time wise or financial wise. That to me just fills my personal mission and what fuels me and what excites me so much about the work that I'm doing. So, I want to pivot to the topic of today's episode now, which is actually why it's so critical to simplify to scale. And so I'm going to dive into that. And then what I want to share with you is one of the exciting ways that you can get a free session with me as part of the celebration of the rebrand, as well as win one of my 90-day lean out planners and a few other great things. But first, let's dive into today's episode, which is all about why I believe simplifying to scale is absolutely critical. So, this is a topic that I talk about often on the podcast. So, I'm going to approach it from a slightly different lens today. And I want you to think about the life cycle of an offer in your business because so often businesses talk about scaling the business. And I use that term a lot as well. But if you really think about what you're scaling, for the most part, what you're scaling are your offers because that's how you're generating revenue. That's how you're generating profit. That's how you're making an impact. Usually, one of the big facets, one of the big ways that you're making an impact. There's certainly free things that you do that extend that as well. But I want to take the lens of your offer as we talk about simplifying to scale here. And so every single offer goes through four overarching stages, in my opinion. There's the emerge stage. And so this is when you have an emerging idea. There's something new that you're thinking about, or you're thinking about really reinventing something that you have pretty significantly. These aren't minor changes. This is a pretty big shift. And you end up in the emerge stage. And in the emerge stage, what you're trying to do is find and achieve product market fit. Is this new offer the right offer that the market wants and is willing to pay for and invest in? Right. And so the emerge stage is very much just about little bit of experimentation. It's figuring out how you're going to package things, how you're going to price things, what positioning actually lands and gets people to raise their hand and say yes. And it's really proving out that you have a viable offer that somebody wants. Great. Once you're able to achieve that, then you move into the growth stage. And your main goal in the growth stage is all about creating a repeatable growth engine, right? You're trying different channels, you're trying different strategies, and you're trying to figure out what actually works to consistently drive leads into the business and what works to consistently be able to convert those leads. So there's this cyclical loop between emerge and grow. And if you think about it, right, you might find some early product market fit where a few people have raised their hand or enough people have raised their hand. Usually about 10 people is a good indicator that you've got product market fit. But maybe you haven't quite landed whatever it is that gets people into the top of your funnel. Or maybe you get people in, but you haven't quite landed how to convert them. Maybe you need to go back and tweak and adjust the way that you've packaged or the way that you're positioning things. And so there's a little bit of a cyclical loop between emerge and grow until you really, really nail product market fit. And then you're just trying to get repeatable results. And once you do, you have your repeatable growth engine and you are ready to scale what you're doing. And once you're able to scale what you're doing, you want to be able to sustain those results and you want to be able to sustain the market share. You don't want other competitors to see what you're doing, copy you, and end up taking a lot of clients. That happens all the time. Or you don't keep making the micro adjustments that keeps your offer really relevant. And all of a sudden, you start to lose clients. Each launch, you're less and less successful. So, on one side, you've got the emerge grow loop that happens where you're trying to nail product market fit in your repeatable growth engine. And then on the other side, you've got the scale sustain loop where you're trying to have a self sustaining and profitable ecosystem in the business, something that can continue to bring in new clients, expand your impact, expand your profit, not just your revenue, and continuously making those small micro adjustments so that it sustains that scalability and sustains those results. Now, the bridge between the two is often what's missing, and that's where simplify comes in. Because if you think about the nature of growth, think about all of the different things that you are doing to try to develop a repeatable growth engine. You are trying all sorts of different channels. You're probably hiring a bunch of different people. You're trying to implement different tools and techniques and strategies. You're playing with AI. You're investing in this tool over here and this infrastructure over there. And the growth stage is the most chaotic, the most messy, and the most expensive stage of business. This is where sometimes your revenues are growing, 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 but your profits are shrinking, shrinking, shrinking because you're adding so many more expenses. And if you jump from grow to scale without simplifying first, you are growing and scaling more chaos and more noise and more complexity and more overwork and more overwhelm. And this is how you end up in a place of burnout or you put your team in a place of burnout. This is where you decide you want to burn your business to the ground because you are done and you just can't either work any harder or you're so tired of getting pulled into the day to day and not having time for what you want that you lose your focus and your love for what you're doing entirely. And so if you think about each of these 4 stages as actually 2 sets of 2, where you have emerge and grow, which is a cycle into itself, and scale and sustain, which is a cycle into itself. The bridge between the 2, the critical bridge between the 2 is simplify. And the thing that is super important to note is that you don't have to wait until you're ready to scale to simplify. If you're really smart, if you're really strategic about the way you approach this, and I see this a lot in second time or third time or serial founders, where they've been through this a few times, they learned the first time, and they're smart enough to say, as I'm growing this, I want to be simplifying. So I'm doing scalable growth instead of just regular old accelerated, all out chaotic growth. And in that case, there's a lot of strategy behind making sure that you're simplifying so that you can scale. But a lot of people wait too long. And if you are in a period of scale right now and you have not yet simplified, you are feeling it. You are probably in the messy middle. Everything is dependent on you. You feel the weight of the world on your shoulders, and you have a really hard time stepping away from the business, even if you have a team, even if you have systems in place, even if you've invested in the things that you thought would give you freedom. If you find you are more stuck in the day to day than ever before, and more just trapped in answering constant questions and putting out fires and feeling like you're the one who's herding all the cats and keeping everything moving and keeping all the plates spinning, you probably started scaling without simplifying first, without stabilizing things first. And so there is no time like the present than to go ahead and simplify and get rid of, lean out all of the waste in the business, all of the complexity in the business that doesn't need to be there, and to put the ecosystem in place that makes it possible for things to not be dependent on you. And if you are in the growth stage, if you are still trying to find your repeatable growth engine, you're getting some sales, but they aren't necessarily consistent. Or things were working, but all of a sudden the market shifted, buying cycles have shifted, and you haven't quite figured out yet exactly what's going to give you that traction back in your business. This is still the time to simplify because you want scalable growth, not chaotic growth. And so if you are anywhere in the growth, scale, sustain cycle, basically, if you've made it past emerge, if you have product market fit, then you want to be in a period of simplification and ensuring that what you are doing is scalable. It will accelerate your path to scale if you're not scaling yet. And it will transform how you scale if you're currently scaling and feeling like you are stuck in the messy middle. And while this has always been critical, while this has always been important, today with so many new businesses starting every single day, with so many new tools and tactics, it has never been easier to build a really complex and chaotic business and to always feel like you're missing something. I need to be doing this. This is what everyone's talking about. If I'm not doing this one thing, I'm never going to be able to scale. If I'm not doing this one thing, I'm never going to be able to grow my business. If I'm not doing this one thing, I'm never going to be able to fill in the blank. And as much as I'm sure that you wish I could tell you that there was some secret to scaling success, or there was some one thing that you could do that will transform everything and give you overnight millions of dollars so you can be on a beach in Bali somewhere, right? All of the things that so many people promise either very directly or very subtly. The reality is it takes putting that core foundation in place that makes sustainable scaling possible. And that is investing the time, the focus, the energy in simplifying to scale. And that is what I am going to be breaking down for you in the episodes to come. So let me tell you a little bit about some of the giveaways that we're doing to celebrate the podcast rebrand and how you can win a coaching session with me or a lean out planner. So I have a goal of getting to a certain number of reviews and 5-star ratings before the end of the year. So what I would ask is if you love this show, whether you've been a longtime listener or you have newly discovered the show, I would so appreciate if you would share it with others and if you could take a moment and at least rate the show. But I love reviews, especially so I could see and hear your feedback. I could see what you love most about the show. It really helps give me inspiration for where I take things to see the things that you key in on and that are most impactful for you. But if you can just take a moment, it'll take you literally under a minute and give us a rating, do a review, send a screenshot over to my team, send it to info@leanoutmethod.com. And what we're going to do is we're going to collect all of the entries and we are going to gift one person a FIFO session with me. So FIFO is the figure at the F out session. It's 90 minutes where we will deep dive into whatever big opportunity or challenge it is that is top of mind for you right now. And we'll bust out the digital whiteboard and we will strategize through it all so you leave with crystal clarity on how to move forward. And you'll also probably leave with a plan forward because that's just what I do. So that is going to be a super valuable session. And we're also giving away 3 lean out planners. So if you do not yet have my 90-day planner, you can either get a physical planner mailed to your doorstep or the digital version of our planner, which has a little mini course that goes along with it as well and introduces you to the concepts in the lean out method and our context, clarity, commitment, Kaizen pillars. So I'd love to gift you one of those, and I would so appreciate it if you could help me share the show and share what you love about the show. If you have ideas, send them to info@leanoutmethod. I do read every single email that comes in, and I love hearing your feedback, and it just does inspire me so much to hear what you love most about the show. So if you can take a few moments and do that, I would be so incredibly grateful. And I hope to see your name on my calendar for the free FIFO session that we are doing through the end of the month. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll see you again next week. Thanks so much for tuning in to this week's episode of Simplify to Scale. If you'd like to take things further, I invite you to join me for my Scale Smarter, Not Harder interactive workshop. Head to strategicopsinstitute.com/scale smarter to get registered. Not only will we dive into what might be keeping you trapped in the day-to-day, but you'll have the opportunity to ask me your questions live. If you got value out of today's episode, I'd love if you'd take a moment and rate and review the show so more businesses can learn to scale more simply and sustainably. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and I'll see you again next week.